which is next topic is next one more case study I'm considering here. Here we'll be demonstrating the two different items. One is the Python based web application. For that we'll be as usual we'll be using the Flask container. And also let us bring out the Redis one more container. So we how we are going to instead of saying the container, the other application. So let us think about the multiple application, which is the Flask and the Redis. Okay, when we think of Flask and the Redis application, so how the two containers are created. Okay, how the two containers will be created. One is obviously with the web container, for which we'll be using the Flask, right, which is a simple Python web server. So for that you can use the port number as need not be 5000. I'm just writing an example as 5000. You can also keep changing, but you need to set the same port number everywhere, as simple as. Okay. Then one more application we are talking about, the Redis. I hope you know that it is Redis majority of the case where we'll be using just like a broker and the database structure, right? So nowadays, even with the people are also using that for the AI chatbots, all that, right? So like that, we are using the two different containers. One is for displaying the web application, which is a Flask. Again, to automate that what we are displaying, we are going to use this Redis. So only it's just a one case study. Okay. Now, can these two containers can be keep communicating? And one more thing, let me tell you. So we when we are creating like two containers, maybe on the same image. So that's what I would like to demonstrate. One image, multiple containers, right? So can these two can communicate with each other? Definitely yes, and we want that communication. So that's only we say that. So Docker Compose. Okay, this point let me highlight. See, whenever I am, whenever we are using the Docker, so whenever we wanted to work with a multiple container, just a Docker is not enough. I'm just repeating, just a Docker is not enough for working with the multiple containers at a time. You definitely need the Docker Compose. So for looking after the Docker Compose, do you need to install anything separately? No, means now. Do you need to install separately? Means no. Why means you already installed the what? Docker desktop. This Docker desktop itself has a Docker Compose as well. I would say it is inbuilt. You don't have to install separately, but you know how to work with it, right? I'm repeating. So in order to work with the multiple containers, you need the Docker Compose. We call it as Docker Compose. Now we are going to work with the Docker Compose, where we will be working with the multiple containers. And for demonstration, we are talking about the two containers. One is a web container, the other one is a Redis container. See what I'm going to show you in the sense it is a simple process. So where in it will be displaying. I just using the counter. Okay, it will be just displaying the counter like this. Hello world. I have been seen how many times like that. It will be displaying something in your web browser. For displaying something in the browser, obviously we are using the Flask. Okay, but I wanted that count. This counter is there, no? So how many times that browser is hit? How many times that web browser is hit? To implement that counter, I am using the Redis framework. So what I am doing, I am importing both Redis and also the Flask. Okay, so it is a simple thing which we are doing. It is just to find out the hit count of that particular web application. And you was talking about, right? So which is the YML. So you can observe now. So this is where I'm using the YML file. Right. So what I'm doing, I'm not doing anything else. So I'm setting the port number both like an inbound and outbound port numbers. I'm setting it to be a same 5000. That's it. I'm not doing anything else. And the whatever the image what we are creating, that it is what we are setting the name for that image in the YM file. See, in the previous demo, in the case one, we did not set the explicitly we did not set the name for the image. So automatically it has taken from the command prompt only, because if you remember in the from the command prompt when we ran that, so at that time we gave it as a Flask demo as the name of the image. So we tagged it. So that is now as we wanted to work with the multiple containers and you don't want to give the name of the image from the command prompt, can I fix it from the YML? Can I customize the YML file and can I fix it? Definitely yes. So this is what you can fix the name like this. And as usual, we are going to use one more file which is a requirements.txt, because it defines that how many containers it has to create. So as I need to create the two containers, one is a Flask, the other one is a Redis. So the one more file is the Docker file. This already we saw in the previous case study also. Like, what is the working directory and what are all the files I need to copy. So you definitely need to copy the requirements file. Based on that only you will get to know how many containers you need to create and the what port. See, if you remember in the previous example, we exported the port number 50. Sorry, port number 80. But we, as right now we are using the 5000, we customized that, so you can make it as 5000. If you want to change, you can change. It is for your case study I'm talking about. So like that, in this case study, we are going to see in the previous case study, we had only the Python application file and the Docker file. So in this case study, we are introducing two more files, which is the requirements.txt and one more as a Docker compose .yml file. Like that, four files we are introducing to demonstrate the multiple containers on the Docker compose, right? So whenever you want to use the Docker compose, as I mentioned, so do you want to install separately? Not required. Docker compose will come with the Docker desktop in the current version. Okay, so now let me take you back. So I'll take you back to the desktop. So I'll just create one more folder. So yeah, I'll just use the Flask Docker or Redis, as I want to do both. I'll just say Flask Redis application. So one folder I have created. So now I have to create the four files. I need to create four files. One is the API, which is the PY file, right? So I'll just go file save as and files app.py, one file number one. So in this file, I'll just paste this code. Second file is the which is that it is a YML file. So it is a YML file. So Docker. So you see again, as usual, as we mentioned, you can use any name for the file, but you have to give the same file name everywhere. That's it. So I think Docker compose, as we are demonstrating something on the compose. So Docker compose file. So here I'll paste this code. Right. Next is which is the next file? It is a requirement.txt. Requirements.txt. Oh, anyhow, it's a txt only. Requirements. So okay, it's a requirements.txt. And what I'll exactly it is I just need to tell that what how many containers I need to create. So it is a Flask and the Redis. Okay, it is done. Next last file, I think it is the Docker file itself. I'll just say Docker file. So here I'll put this code, put these lines. This is not code. Okay, so now I am done with preparing the four required files. One is API, app, which is Python file, YML file, Docker file, and the requirements file. So like this, four files are ready. Now I'll go back to the command prompt. So what I'll do first, let me comment of this. Okay, one more thing, what I'll do. So as we demonstrated as a previous example, as a one single container, right? So that it may be still running. Okay, so that container may be still running. You can, can you leave it like that itself? In a sense, you can leave it, but unnecessarily it will be killing your, whatever services. So what do you do? I can stop this. Can I stop this here? So definitely I can stop this. So can you stop this from the command prompt as well? Definitely you can stop. But I just clicked here itself. You can also stop that from the command prompt also. Okay. Yes, one. Yeah. Now you can see it is stopped, right? So now let me see the image. Yeah, so images are also both are both are in use. So now images it's okay, but containers you can stop because unnecessarily it will kill your process, right? So if you ask me, can you stop it as I clicked here and stopped? So can you stop it from the like from the CMD, which is command prompt interface? Definitely yes. So you could have used the Docker stop, as simple as. Okay, you just need to use the Docker stop. But as of now, there are no yeah, Docker stop, and the Docker name you have to give that container name. Okay, container ID name is there, no? This one, container ID, like this. So this, if you give, it will stop, but actually it is already stopped, so it is not doing anything. And similarly, you can also delete from here by using a Docker kill. If you want, if you don't want, what to be available here, if you want to delete, see, anyhow the delete option is, this, either you can click on the delete here, like this, you can delete forever by clicking on this delete button, otherwise, sorry, delete icon. Otherwise, you can also do that by using from here itself. You can also use the Docker kill. Okay, Docker kill and followed by the Docker ID, whatever you want to kill. But right now, for your demonstration, I'm not killing, but you can kill it. That's what you can delete from the what from the command prompt itself. Now, what I'll do, anyhow, we have set up the four folders, sorry, four files in the folder, right? So let me go back to that folder, which is the Flask Redis app. Now, so as again, I'm repeating, as we just did the we have created for the multiple containers, right? It's not a single container. So as we have created for the multiple containers, so you don't try to create the image like what you created, which is already given now. I'm repeating. So in the previous case study, we built the image from this command prompt itself, right? Now, so for that itself, we gave the name of the image file, all that. But now we have already given inside this YML file, we have given the image, what is that, all that. We have already given, again in the Docker file also, we have already set up. So only what you can do in the sense, you can directly give the, what execution or the build compose file. So it is that Docker compose build. So you can think of Docker compose. Okay, and one more thing. See Docker compose. See, where is it? Yeah, Docker. Mm, is the same command itself, right? Or am I doing anything wrong? Docker compose up. Did I do any mistake while typing? I don't think so. Mm, just let me think. See, okay. Let me just use a Docker compose build. Yeah, it is starting. So Docker compose build. Okay, okay, fine. Yeah, correct. So what I'll do, view build details, fail to solve, fail to read Docker file. No file. Oh, sorry. What happened here? We have created that the desktop. Yeah, this Docker file is a text file. I want to convert that first. Rename Docker. So I need to convert that to the Docker text, right? That is the point. So as that was a text file, we want the Docker file without the extension, right? That was the point. Now, yeah, Docker compose build. Yeah. So I'll just rewrite this sentence as Docker compose So here, instead of you use the Docker compose up build. So whenever actually it is, it is, if it's already running, okay, if your Docker is compose is already running, in that case, you go with this Docker compose up build. So if not, you can simply use the Docker compose build. So anyhow, you're not building the multiple, multiple containers also, you are, stopped them. So you can just use this Docker compose build. I think it will take a couple of minutes to create the image. So however we create the image here, right? The previous example, similarly, now one more image. See, now can you observe this? Flask Redis web application image is getting created. It's not yet created yet. So because it's not used yet, so it is get, yeah. Now you can see web build image is ready. You can observe. So image is ready. So once after you are done with creating this, so then later then you can think of accessing. But one thing you could have observed that, so this Redis, whatever the web application, whatever the name of the image, what you created, so that is based on the two containers. One is sorry, that is for the sake of two containers. One is the Flask and the other one is the Redis. Now let us, you can launch it. Yeah, so even that is one point. One more thing I just used, right, this Docker compose up build. You also use this Docker compose up build, in the sense, definitely yes. So whenever, if you are per suppose if your Docker compose is already running, in that case you can use this. So as now we have I think it is double hyphen, yeah. So now, as in this case, we just ran the Docker compose. So you can see that web build is running. So now you can start pulling the. Yeah, now you can validate here. So Redis is full. So full is completed for all this. So you can observe when you come down. So this is where you can observe. So Redis app is default is created, and content is created, right? So content Flask Redis is created. So all this, and they have attached as well. So network is created between the Redis and the Flask, right? So and when you come down, so it will show that. You can observe running on the address which is 0, which is local host, and the port number is 5000. Okay, by confirming on this, so you can check right now. You can go back to the portal. That's what he is also saying. You can go back to the local host and check for this 5000. So what I'll do, I'll just go back to the local host, and I use 5000. So can you see here it is? So every time I'll refresh, so it will be keep incrementing. That is what we are just showcasing how this how this will be implemented. And if you go back to the content this in Docker desktop, you can observe the image. So it is the Redis image, whereas this is the Flask Redis image what we is created. Based on this, the container is created. You can observe it is Flask Redis app. Okay, and it is running. You can also stop. And as I mentioned already, so you can also stop this directly here. Otherwise, you can also stop from the command prompt also. That I will show you later. So before that, you can, if you see images again, if you see the volume. So obviously, this is the volume which is already, it is in process. And if you click on this build, so can you see which are all the build you terminated? I mean, I terminated in between, and what is completed. So everything, you see, these two got the error in between again. Finally resolved. So like this entire thing, you can also observe this I mean, say from the Docker desktop, which you can also have a control from the command prompt as well, right? So this is just a demonstration of the multiple. Containers. One is the Flask, the other one is the Redis. So Flask is just displaying the content. Redis is implementing this count whenever you refresh the browser. That's only the demonstration right here, right? So yeah, now you can go back, and you either you can just click Control C, where it will stop the um, whatever we are whatever the two containers we have started, right? So those, it can be stopped, right? So that is the demo for this. can work with the multiple containers. So one is the Flask, the other is a Redis. So once after you're done, then later obviously however I shown you can stop the Docker individual Docker. Similarly, you can stop the Docker compose also, right? You can also kill that. There we use a kill, right? So you here similarly you can also use the Docker prune, so which will delete that entirely from your repository. Okay, that also you can think of.